About to drive to Sydney for South by Southwest.
For a snap.
Responsive?
Yeah.
1, 2.
Round of applause for South by Southwest Sydney.
Welcome to Gadigal land. No matter what you vote, no matter what you say, this will always be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. This is the very first time South by Southwest, one of the world's most iconic events, has left Austin, Texas to come to Sydney.
I'm so excited to have South by Southwest Sydney coming here to this meeting place.
Is that there's not a lot that you can do regularly that sort of supports your ongoing well-being.
It also, I think that it takes you out of some kind of real world, you know what I mean?
Hailed as the next computing paradigm. What this means is you're not just a casual observer anymore.
What is it about the lives we lead now that could be fundamentally different just a few decades from now?
Let me start by giving maybe a bit of context with a story, which starts actually with the immortality of cancer.
But our body cells, which are normal, mutate and change and develop all these signalling pathways and abnormalities that mean they're not controlled by the normal processes.
AI, I suspect, is quite a good intersection between the three of us. The AI, of course, is being increasingly used in the medical space.
What is it that you look to bring to the mix for the Olympics with new sports?
Sort of look at sports which will engage the public, engage sponsors, and engage the whole world.
You know, all of a sudden you had to do your best tricks in a run every single time.
They look at musicality, they look at your execution, they look at originality, because you need to bring something of yourself, something new to what you're performing.
Potential of how you can use your own cells to drive healing.
You incubated technology here with the market we've got and the expertise and the competition that's happening in Australia, but ultimately going international is what moves the dial.
But then at some point when I saw the potential of electric vehicles, I just felt compelled to do something.
Obviously we have people coming from very different perspectives of directing, acting, writing and sometimes producing.
Because directors are the lowest paid people on most film sets.
Weirdly moved to Hollywood in my 30s to pursue a career from being a banker before that. I think my family thought I was having a nervous breakdown.
I applied to film schools in the States, two in LA, two in New York, got into one in New York and one in LA, and decided to go to AFI for directing.
You know, I mean, at drama school, I always wanted to come to America. For me, it was like it was Rome. It was like, you know, the goal wasn't just, you know, our own stories, but the goal was to see the world.
Please don't call the sacred ibis a bin chicken anymore, thank you.
And welcome to the first ever keynote at South by Southwest Sydney. We're about to make a little bit of history here, ladies and gentlemen. It's really exciting. Jamie Webb, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not one South by a year, but two. So the field that I work in is called strategic foresight, and the colloquial term for this type of work, the people who do it, is called a futurist.
My name's Clancy Overall from the Computer Advocate. This is Effie Bateman. We usually hide behind our keyboards like cowards.
Boredom makes you be more creative.
I think what happens is you have people who use it to create transparency where there isn't any, which is a good. But then you use it for people who justify things they're doing that are pretty toxic.
But I'm very proud to say that we achieved what not many people achieve, even with massive amount of resources behind films.
Yeah, I guess the advice is
to not get into it. That's what I was told. And
then you got into it with them.
So I'm like, you know, stuff you guys, I'm gonna make films.
It is so exciting to be here in Sydney this week. We live in a society where we just don't know what to trust, and so we don't trust anything.
Everybody wants a hit. Finding a story that makes your audience feel seen, heard and understood.
We live in a country with so many different voices and perspectives.
The storytelling that is coming from here, not necessarily the subject matter.
So we're going to be tackling some of the big questions around the future of news and war reporting, as well as live in Kyiv. Our correspondent is standing by.
There was political fatigue starting to appear among Ukraine's Western allies.
Just really always thinking about safety as the #1 priority.
All of the reporting that they do and the knowledge they bring and the insight that they are able to deliver to our audiences.
In situations like this, we do have ongoing editorial discussions about being very intentional about the language we use.
The traditional roots of hip-hop.
We are here to celebrate the incredible changing face of Australian hip-hop throughout the years.
As I come over from the States in the mid-90s, I met Essa on the first day of high school. Was the only other guy in the whole school that knew what hip-hop was.
I used to, like Liz said, like no one was listening to hip-hop on stage.
I just remember I was in year 6, and you know how you used to get like a little diary for school? I used to go to the back of the diary in like the notes section, and I just used to write songs. But
so there's no interviews in this film, just the talking heads on stage.
Today we're going to hear from two of the best from their respective industries.
I think you always remember the good ones, and I think that's the positive part of being an entertainer. And I was always aware that what I did I loved, and I was an entertainer. I was out there to entertain the people.
Like, I see that as someone who tries to push and take risks.
Who would you be and why?
It'd definitely have to be Gurumul.
What about you, Nina? If you could be any sports person.
Instantly I went Sam Kerr. She's so cool.
To talk about the future of sports media and amplifying women's voices.
I think a lot of it is about challenging perceptions, about shattering stereotypes and rebuilding and creating a level playing field.
So in a representation context, we have a lot of work happening around the representation of women just in sports.
So I think that what we saw with the Women's World Cup was really myth-busting.
And the thing that at the time was slightly troubling me was how upbeat everyone was being about technology, myself included. And I remember being particularly haunted by, there would be adverts for sort of Apple products or whatever, that where everyone was happy, running around on the beach, taking photographs of lovely things, and it all looked a bit like the footage they show the old guy in the film Soylent Green just before they euthanize him.
Welcome to Hello 2050, what's on the menu?
So we've got some big challenges in terms of how we address that food security and quality challenge.
But part, and a really important part of that equation, is the community and is the public. So at some point, and I'm sorry to just go straight into the big call to action, is that we're all going to have to change our behaviour in some way.
I feel like regenerative is this new buzzword, and rightly so, because it feels like it's not good enough to be sustainable anymore. What is sustainable? We should be regenerating. And
first, we'll hear some news about how climate is impacting Australia and also impacting around the world. Then we'll make adaptations. That's the big way that players do things and become heroes in the story.
One of my worries at the moment is my parents' health.
Cost of living keeps going up, and I'm very conscious about where I'm going to live.
As an artist, as a touring musician, I'm starting to slow down from touring.
Looking for a new job.
You could say spend that energy to represent that you're finding a new job, and then at least you could say maybe you found one.
Representing Old Man Yells at Cloud.
This is South by Southwest Sydney. I'm Osher Gisberg. This is a podcast called Better Than Yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to South by Southwest, Peter Garrett!
Music is different. It's very elemental, it's very primeval, it's very emotionally driven at times. And for me, the stage is the second home. So it felt like I was coming home again.
It's lovely and an honour, as I said, to be here. Just to have a conversation today with Nicole and Per.
Trying something and taking opportunities and just going, let's go.
And all of a sudden created an energy we live by that creative. And I think a lot of the filmmakers that we work with are, really love that too.
A lot of people look at a label and being signed and having a deal as like what officially makes you a rapper or a real musician. And when I got to go on my own headlining tour for Acid Rap and sold out, shows around the country and started touring internationally and meeting amazing artists and just getting all these cool opportunities without the label, I kind of was just like, well, the label, I don't really need them.
And then I stopped and realised that the common denominator in all of those areas is me. So what am I going to change? We can't expect anyone outside of us to change. We have to be the change we wish to see.
I started going out in Sydney. I felt it was quite one-dimensional compared to what I was used to experiencing with my family.
Back then you really had to be innovators and creators of your own, and if you had that creative itch in you, you had to go out and figure out how to do it when there wasn't any space for you to do it anyway. So
I think growing up it felt like arts were exclusively based in the city and in the eastern suburbs, and they were closed to people who didn't live there.
We've always used storytelling as a voice, as a message. Art and story is a big medicine for this landscape, whether it's in music or dance or whatever. So I'm just glad I've been in that bubble because I think that's what keeps us thriving as a culture.
Sometimes we get this weird tingling sensation when we listen to music.
But frisson is a French word which means aesthetic chills. So we can experience frisson with any form of artistic endeavour. It might be a painting, going and seeing a piece of theatre that's particularly moving, but we know that it's particularly strong with music.
And music is that rare thing that it kind of literally soundtracks our lives, and now even more so when you're sort of on the move, it's like a cinematic experience that you have every day.
De-extinction is bringing back an extinct species or a proxy for that species through combining ancient DNA with that of its closest living relative. It's also rewilding and putting the animal back into its natural habitat so that it can actually fill that ecological void that it once had.
But the thing I love about the Tasmanian Tiger Project and the reason I'm so passionate about it is because it was such a unique marsupial.
This is kind of like Jurassic Park. I'm sorry, I just have to say it.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah.
Trying to work on ways to help not just young people, whatever young means to you, work towards a thing called financial independence.
We just make finance content, stock market content, trying to get people pumped up to invest.
I started investing when I was 18 because I thought it was something you were meant to do. But I think for me, what it enabled me to do was I learned about FIRE, which is financial independence, retire early.
Sick of white teeth, claiming they don't get no love, but when you look at the history, they've always hated us. This created division. This was white man-made. Truckers go in the community and make a black girl slave.
Anderson. And I am Jan Fran. Welcome to South by Southwest. On our panel today, Alex Lee and Melbourne.
stepping down from his media empire and soon will be stepping even further down into hell.
Like no one else on this planet has done more to poison the well of public discourse than Rupert Murdoch. Like a little part of me feels like a bit patriotic.
Because if he needs me to host a show called Australia's Next Top Asbestos Inspector, I do it. I do it well. No, I love it.
The daunting to-do list, it just says Satan's bidding.
Like any kind of fancy dress party, a man will be in Roman attire as quickly as he can.
We got the ultimate of swag.
What do we get?
We got tattoos, free ones from Dr. Martens.
We're on the last day of rehearsal.
Like citizens, killing our innocents, sending kids to imprisonment, burn all prisons in your history books.
Dr. Carl, is the moon landing fake?
Well, the thing is that it was really expensive to train the astronauts. I mean, it was a whole difficult thing. So it was too expensive to get astronauts to the moon. So what they did was they got some B-grade actors who were in spacesuits, but to make it look real, they shot on the moon.
Deck of cards and genuinely shuffle them. And as you pick up that ordering of cards, I am confident to the point of certainty that order of cards has never happened before in the history of the universe.
Wow.
And will never happen again.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Board Game Barbecue podcast.
Board gaming has changed my life.
But just that mental stimulation that I haven't been able to find in any other way.
Being a social lubricant in social settings for people who don't want to assert themselves or don't feel comfortable in social settings, to have kind of structure around which they can engage in social play.
Yeah, I suppose anything that you do in front of the camera. Welcome to Dragon Friend! Explain to me how you were traveling.
My name's Logan the Huge. I'm a turtle. I'm a level 10 druid.
I don't think that Margaret person knew about those logins.
I know.
I just realised these are like really, I've had like 3 of these before the show and they're really strong.
Yes.
2 saucepans, right?
They're filming this, by the way.
Oh, this reminds me of when I healed that robot.
Trusted to be in a festival. If you cannot sit down and... Wow. Because I might have broken my laptop.
You know what's funny? I haven't even seen that movie.
The thing about that is how it ends, is that Bruce Willis vomits soup.
Hi everyone, I'm Luke, I'm the head of Games of South by. I wanted to say that this was our last session. Thank you very much to the Dragon Friends. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to our sponsors and our team and all that. I'm very tired, but they told me I had to do this. Okay, no, this is it. It's done. You can go home now.